I don't know a lot about the Decred.
Kidding about printing.
Flooding the system with money.
Yes, exactly.
And there's no end to your ability to do that.
We will do whatever we need to do to make sure that there's enough cash in the bank.
I wish I was more educated on Decred. Decred. He is bullish on Decred.
Today, Decred hit its yearly high, so this is a significant moment because actually it's the first turning around point where this could actually be the end of a bear market. So I thought it'd be interesting to put this video together as kind of a timestamp to kind of see if my train of thought actually plays out. So I've got a couple of different charts here just to kind of illustrate what I'm thinking. So the Decred yearly high, which happened today, and it only happened just briefly. It got to £18.83p, but it's been trading in the £18 to £18.50 for the last 24 hours, which is a really positive move to the upside. Now, for the last few months, people have been saying, look, the bear market is over, we are now in a bull market. But until you start reaching more positive ground, and a new yearly high is definitely positive ground, it's very hard to declare that. That being said, if we are out of the bear market, you can pretty much say that the end of the bear market was the 17th of March for Decred 2020. And since then, we've been finding new higher lows, and which is really important. It kind of signifies that we are heading in the right direction. So this chart that I've got in front of me here is the all-time Decred chart. Now, we have some significant moments. Now, you've got to remember with pricing, it works like an oscillator, so it's always going to go up and down. It's never just going to go one direction. It's never going to always go up. And this is what a lot of short-term investors kind of forget, is actually this is an oscillating slope. So, there will be upside and downside. So what I try to do is I try to find the lowest possible points. So when I looked at the chart, even before the end of this bull market on the 17th of March, you're really kind of tracing your way back to the last kind of big low. So for me, this was here on the 7th of April. Now the coin had only just kind of begun, and you had all these kind of pre-offerings, but this is when it first came to market and people started kind of buying this. We were also going into the bull market, the Bitcoin bull market at the time as well. So there's a lot of optimism around all kind of cryptocurrencies. So to take it any higher than this point would be a little bit foolish, because we were kind of literally at the end of this bull market where everything was just going through the roof. And you can kind of see this in these charts here where Decred was like, less than a year old, and it was kind of getting all this traction. So the first point that I've taken it from is this £6.61 point. And it's not until it kind of finds those points again that you actually start tracing it back. Now, before the £7.1 hit, and this was the worldwide lockdown for the COVID-19. The 17th of March was when all the markets kind of just went crashing down. The S&P crashed down. All the kind of normal markets just kind of plummeting down on the news that the world was going to lock down and all of that uncertainty. So there's no kind of bigger rallying point for a low than this, and it's just whether it finds that low again. Now, the last time we found it was just over a month ago when it got to about £8, and I'll show you that in the next chart. But we never found that £7 again. So we can kind of establish that in times of crisis, at the moment, this is probably the lowest point it will ever get to ever again. So if you're buying at £7, presuming that Decred stays secure and it stays and it kind of functions the way it's meant to be, this is the best buying point you're ever going to get. Is unlikely to ever find this £6.61 point again, and there's like 3 years in between this 17 and 20 point, so the growth of Decred in this point from the lowest perspective is like 30p or 40p. It's 40p. So if you look at the lows, it's a positive step forward, but it's not a massive growth that you would expect, and this is because Decred was pretty much born in a bear market. Yes, we had these high spikes, but this was really the end of this huge kind of Bitcoin and Ethereum movement. And since then, we were born in this bear market. So it's not until this point on the 17th of March that we've actually had a chance to see the direction. And also, it's not until this point now, almost 5 years into the project, that we actually start to see things being built and things to come to life. Now, in the next few months, we're going to see Decred 1.6 come to life, hopefully, if it gets approved, and I'm pretty sure it will. And that's when all this new fantastic stuff kind of gets implemented on the Decred chain. So that's the first point. So you can see I'm kind of closing out my bear market on this line here, but I'm actually starting my bull run on this line here. Now, as you can see, we're kind of over that point at the minute. This high of £18.83 is actually really, really optimistic. If it carries on this line, then I'll obviously redraw this. But at the moment, I have no reason that I shouldn't be following these higher lows and actually follow this train of thought. So at the moment, my buying price for Decred would be about £14.50. Buying it any higher than that, you're looking at losing a bit of money at this particular juncture. That's not to say that won't change, and the momentum that we're getting is very, very, very positive. So what we're looking at here now is the year chart, and what I was interested in is how long the oscillating cycle actually lasts for. Now, because we know where the low is, this kind of 17th of March, it's not until we find the new high. So the last high was here on the 14th of February. So this was kind of like the end of the cycle, if you like. I know it was a forced end, but then the oscillating cycle started again. So from the start to the end actually took 8.5 months. So you could expect this cycle to reverse over the course of a 9-month to a 10-month period, which, where it kind of oscillates back to, we're not sure yet. But it's an interesting point that it took 8.5 months to kind of find that from this devastating low, which was the lockdown of COVID, all the way to where we are now. A lot of people say that this was also bolstered by the fact that the American election saw a new president and there was new hope and all the rest of it, which was at this kind of point here. Once the election got underway, we just saw this massive positive momentum. So we might still see a pullback there, which is interesting. And as we move forward, I mean, you're looking at these lows. It's pretty much unlikely now on this kind of year timetable, as long as there's no more devastation like the COVID-19 or something devastating happens. It's unlikely now, as long as Decred keeps working the way it is and it stays secure, that we'll find a low of less than £8.40, which was this one here on the 21st of September. So from here, you'll probably, that'll be an absolute lowest buying point now. So, and then finally, we'll just look at the 3-month chart. Now, this one's important, and as I said before, we need to look for higher lows forming, and this is going to give us the new bottom price, or the new kind of the building blocks for our oscillating cycle. And once again, we saw this first building block at £8.65. It's possible that you might find the £7.01 again if there's a really big event, but unless there isn't, you're looking at this. The next low, or the next high low, was £10.62, and after that it was £13.11. Now these are probably quite fragile at the moment. Until they get tested a few times, they're going to be quite fragile. So I would expect to see some pullback to this point over the next few months. But I felt that this was a really interesting time because we hit this new high. You can start to see the new cycle play out, which I just felt was really interesting. So I thought I'd give you my kind of charts and show you what I'm looking at. Now remember, this isn't financial advice. This is just me playing around with kind of my theories, and I'm a massive Decred person, as you know, and I'm always going to try and buy in at the lowest points. Although I try to buy it every month, I do look for the lows, the mids, and the highs. Now I will avoid paying the highest prices and always try and look for the lowest possible prices, and that's why this is so important. And this is why I'm looking at this £14.40, which is probably my buying point at this particular moment. So I hope you found that useful. If you want to subscribe, like, or donate, please feel free to. Everything is positive and it's always great to hear your feedback. If there's anything I've just said that you don't agree with, it would be great to get your feedback. If you've got any other insights or any other thoughts around this, it'd be obviously feed that back. It'd be absolutely amazing. And I'll see you next time.
Don't know a lot about the Decred.
Kidding about printing, flooding the system with money.
Yes, exactly.
And there's no end to your ability to do that.
We will do whatever we need to do to make sure that there's enough cash in the bank.
I wish I was more educated on Decred. Decred. He is bullish on Decred.